I transmigrated into a female-targeted novel as a domineering CEO, but my mind is perfectly normal. Clearly I'm wealthy, worth billions, young and handsome, and heiresses seeking marriage come one after another. I don't understand. Why is it that people always want me to be a garbage dump? A company's over 40 spinster shouts that if worse comes to worse, she'll just marry a rich man. And the rich man she means is me. A rebellious first love elopes with someone, then the divorced ex with a child comes back asking me to take over, saying I'm the love of their life and urging me to be a dad to save time. Could it be that a proper billionaire CEO in the world of female-targeted fiction is as common as dirt? But I'm not a garbage dump. I'm the bane of these lunatics. Are domineering CEOs in female-targeted fiction all as common as dirt? Or are they even being sold by weight, by the kilo, even by the ton? At best, it's a garbage dump, domineering CEO my ass. My blood pressure shoots up as I curse, and quickly swipe away the fake, male-lead, female-targeted novels. Xingyue is gone mad too, non-stop recommending them to me. Damn it, my hand can't stay away. I click another one. The domineering CEO falls for my eternal girlhood. My best friend's niece is 20 years younger than me, prettier with a better figure and fair, delicate skin. Why does she get to marry a tall, rich, handsome guy? She's just a big-breasted, brainless idiot, always acting cute and revolving around men, without the proud, dominating uniqueness of a true female lead. Her education isn't even as high as mine. Matchmaker Lisa Garcia says I can marry a man with assets over 100 million, talented, considerate, and gentle while spoiling me. But I want someone whose starting net worth is $1 billion. So what? If worst comes to worst, I'll marry a rich man. Who says a middle-aged woman isn't a treasure? As long as I keep my girlish heart, I'll always be a girl. What the hell are these bizarre lines? A few years from now, you'll be menopausal, and your big plan is just marry a rich man? The reason people become rich is because they're shrewd and calculating. Why does this weird weirdo treat rich people as a last resort option? Are you so deluded about your abilities that you end up an old leftover and still have that stupid, domineering CEO, falls for me, toxic positivity in your head? Do you really take it for granted that someone will hand you a rich man as a consolation prize and a retirement plan? Such absurdly confident old pigeons are written by these idiotic fake writers into inspirational big female leads. Heaven, earth, why torturous book fans who want to relax by reading with this kind of dumb plot? How kinky is my hand that it clicked on such a crazy book? The next second, everything went black. When I opened my eyes again, I had transmigrated into the female-targeted world. I'd become Ethan, the CEO of the Johnson Group with over $10 billion in assets. Not only that, I was the only son of the prestigious Johnson family of Star City, a rising star in business fresh back from a top global university. The female-targeted world had made the original character too perfect, a hexagonal all-around prodigy. Only in matters of love had the original been cursed. Ridiculously stupid, self-contradictory, and brain-dead. However, I can't stand being taken advantage of, and my mind is perfectly normal. I quickly integrated the original's memories and inherited all his genius and strengths. With the 2.5 years of superb acting I practiced before transmigrating, I adapted rapidly to this unpretentiously ultra-rich life. Naturally, when I stopped clinging to being a simp, a backup, or a fallback, and even grew to intensely loathe those roles, the original's parents finally breathed a sigh of relief and cried tears of joy. They'd been waiting so long for this day. At last they saw their proud son, Ethan, have normal sense in matters of love. When I arrived at Johnson Group and saw that the assistants and secretaries were all men, I flew into a rage. Which domineering CEO has such shabby standards? I looked up and saw a man, and the one who went out with him was also a man. The key is I'm not an opera here. My orientation is perfectly normal. Get the HR manager up here. The corporate secretary Michael nodded and turned to make a call. In less than a minute, he came back in with a complicated expression. Mr. Ethan, Manager Linda, she said she's busy. She asked you to wait a moment. She's temporarily unavailable. But I heard through the speaker. It sounded like things were pretty lively over there. Lots of laughter. Huh? Me? Make me wait. I pointed at myself and made the classic emoji face. You know, the girl pointing at herself with a head full of question marks. In an instant, my anger shot up. She's an HR manager, and she expects the boss of this company to wait for her. Is there any law? Any rules? Any company regulations? This is downright absurd. I laughed furiously. Fine, great. I really want to see what this big manager Linda is so busy doing that she keeps her boss waiting. Come on, let's go to HR. When we reached the door of the HR office, it really was buzzing with activity, chattering, and gossip flying. I glanced at my left hand at my watch. It was still working hours. Secretary Michael knew how to read the room. Seeing my frown, he immediately reached to push the door open. Suddenly, a shout came from inside. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Then the loud voice continued unabashedly. I will never lower my standards for a mate. For over 20 years, my goal hasn't changed. He must be brilliantly talented, highly educated, high IQ, high EQ, a rich, handsome man who knows how to pamper and flatter me, humorous and witty, gentle and attentive, knows how to cook, and can be with me at all times every day. Otherwise, I'd rather remain single than settle. I'd rather be nobly single than stoop to an ordinary, low-quality marriage like you. Such brazen, crazed declarations left both Michael and me stunned and speechless. Our faces both showed that groundhog eye expression. Michael quickly snapped back to reality, trying not to laugh. Well, you know, Manager Linda is over 40. Didn't expect her standards to be so high. I scoffed teasingly. Such a perfect, rich, handsome guy. Not even a desert prince with a cloth on his head could meet that. She'd probably need some pig butchering scam to get one. Meanwhile, HR manager Linda kept on with her shameless, even daydreaming rhetoric. You people are so ignorant. How can you lower your standards and marry so easily? I really feel sorry for you. You have to know that there are more men than women now. Even at 80, we women won't have trouble getting married. Look at my friend's niece. Besides being young, pretty, having a great figure and a sweet mouth, she has no standout qualities, and yet she married a billionaire-level, extremely excellent, rich, handsome guy. What does she have? Tell me, what does she have? Big breasts, no brain. She just flirts and pampers men all day, wasting her time fussing over her face and body. She even learned to cook for men. She doesn't understand being independently beautiful at all. Among Linda's colleagues, there were still some with normal brains. For example, the recruitment head in HR, Emily. Linda was especially resentful toward her, thinking she was foolish to marry so early. This recruitment head, Emily, had accompanied her husband, a good-natured, upwardly mobile man from a poor family, from university uniform to wedding dress. The couple, through down-to-earth hard work, not only managed to buy a mortgaged home and settle down in Star City, but also had a chubby little boy. She offered a well-meaning reminder, but manager Linda, age is a woman's biggest nemesis. After 30, you become more and more disadvantaged in the marriage market. And if a woman has a baby after 35, she's classified as an older mother and the risks rise sharply. She went on, it's better to be practical in middle age. After all, those perfect, rich, handsome men who could meet your standards are most likely already married. Linda found this grating and immediately got irritated. She snapped back angrily. So what if that's the case? If that kind of partner is gone, I'll just marry a rich man. As long as I keep my girlish heart, I'll never be middle-aged, even if you insist on labeling me. I'm a middle-aged girl. Besides, a woman's middle age can be even more attractive and precious. If a middle-aged girl like me doesn't have high standards, it would be an insult to my figure, my looks, my high education, and even my girlish soul. It's heartbreaking and pathetic to be like you, so foolish and unambitious, marrying down to some ordinary man. As for me and Secretary Michael, we were completely shocked, scorched on the outside, raw inside. Marry a rich man? Oh, a rich man eats your ice? Or are all rich people idiots, and you, old pigeon, are the smartest in the world? It was one thing that she'd been poisoned by those syrupy female audience CEO novels, but her mouth spat nonsense and easily offended a whole crowd. How did this exquisite weirdo even grow up, let alone make it into her 40s? The fact she hadn't been beaten to death. We should thank the many good people in the world. The key question: how did this mentally unbalanced old maid get into Johnson Group at all? It seems in future hiring, we can't judge by degrees and ability alone. We must check character and emotional intelligence, and anyone off their rocker must be rejected. Except, Linda's mad ramblings sounded oddly familiar to me. It can't be that I've transmigrated into a female audience world and haven't yet enjoyed the glorious life of a domineering CEO, right? I just arrived at the company and already ran into the tyrant CEO falls for the older girl. The plot-hungry hand of fate isn't going to drag me into it, is it? After all, I'm a proper heir to billions, a genuinely rich man. I'm the president of Johnson Group. Easy bait for a mentally unstable heroine. Sure enough, speak of the devil, another onlooker in the office asked curiously. Manager Linda, since you regard marrying a rich man as a last resort and fallback, you must have requirements for his assets, right? Of course, Linda said confidently. A matchmaker named Lisa Garcia told me I could at least marry someone with assets over $100 million, but that amount isn't rich at all. He should at least be on the domestic rich list to be worthy of my years of loyalty. I checked last month's Forbes domestic rich list. I'm not greedy, so I'll reluctantly pick the very last person on it. The onlooker exclaimed, "Isn't that our Mr. Ethan? Holy crap, ruthless." I was suddenly an emoji in human form. I transmigrated to be a domineering CEO, and now I've become the lowest threshold. The rich man Linda casually mentioned as a fallback option, the one she'd marry on a whim, was me. She's in her 40s, 15 years older than me. As the saying goes, older women hug old bricks. Older women at 30 are gifted kingdoms. Older women at 300 get elixirs. Older women at 3,000 join the immortal ranks. Older women at 30,000 are fed by the Queen Mother. Older women at 300,000 stand at the Buddha's gate. Linda clearly wants the old cow to eat young grass, to live off me and enjoy my money and company. What a sight. A toad dreaming of swan meat, wishful thinking. Even the turtles in the wishing well would shake their heads. Linda didn't see it that way and sounded a bit helpless. Alas, I work at Johnson Group, so Mr. Ethan has the nearby advantage. I'm in charge of such an important HR department at the group. Isn't that his way of showing favor to me? So I reluctantly lowered my standards a little for him. Fortunately, Mr. Ethan is also promising. He happens to be the very last on the rich list, so he matches me. Of course, this is my last resort and bottom line. Mr. Ethan's fortune can barely be called wealthy. Everyone was stunned by Linda's daytime fantasies. However, when it came to me, the president of Johnson Group, the same people in HR kept quiet. Someone in the office couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Emily, what are you laughing at?" Recruiting manager Emily tried hard to hold it in, maintaining a professional smile. "Manager Linda, I was just remembering something funny." "What funny thing?" Linda didn't believe her. Emily kept stifling her laughter and, forcing herself, blurted a lie. "My son got a perfect score." Linda, however, thought she was being mocked and screamed hysterically. "Your son is only 2.5. He hasn't even started kindergarten. Where did a perfect score come from? You're clearly laughing at me. I put up with you for a long time, Emily. Do you even want to keep being a recruiting manager?" I've been standing outside, eavesdropping on the gossip for a while. I was 100% sure of one thing. The raving lunatic yelling inside, Linda, was the inspirational big heroine from the overbearing CEO falls for my mature girl heart. The plot writers had really lost it to dump this oddball on my Johnson Group. Do they think I'm the boss to be toyed with? They're literally dumping every piece of trash on me. Do they think I'm a garbage dump? I pushed the door open and walked in, cutting off this clown's performance. I clapped mockingly, sneering, "Manager Linda, what an impressive show of authority you have." Crash. The HR staff, who had just been gossiping, instantly changed expressions and quickly buried their heads in front of their computers to pretend to work. They all went silent like startled birds, but their ears were cocked for more gossip. Mr. Ethan, what do you mean by being so snide to a woman? Don't think that just because you're the boss you can disrespect women. Linda put on airs and glared at me, spouting aggressive words. Oh, wonderful. Truly befitting a crazed heroine from a women's fiction world. Never disappointing. Secretary Michael, seeing Linda's haughty stance, immediately transformed into the heroic protector of the boss. He pointed at Linda and berated her angrily. Manager Linda, what kind of attitude is that? Mr. Ethan came to see you earlier, but you impatiently said you were busy and actually made Mr. Ethan wait. Now it turns out your so-called busyness was you and the HR staff chatting and gossiping during work hours, and you even dragged Mr. Ethan into it. You refused to follow the boss's work instructions and publicly criticized and disrespected the boss. Our legal department can sue you for defamation. Not only did you lead a violation of company rules, but because your nonsense made a subordinate laugh, you want to fire her? Do you treat the HR department like it's your personal fiefdom? Mr. Ethan is right. You really do wield a lot of authority. If you're so great, do you want to fire Mr. Ethan too? Michael did an excellent job. Truly the mouthpiece of King. Who the hell gave Linda the nerve to be so arrogant? If the original plot had played out here, she might actually have dared to fire me, the boss. Good thing my head's screwed on straight. I'm not accepting trash. Linda didn't think she had a problem at all. She sprang up and shouted, "You're just a lousy secretary. What right do you have to scold me?" Then she tilted her head back and stared at me, showing not even a shred of employee awareness. Johnson Group put me in charge of the entire HR department because they value my high education and outstanding ability. They say hire without doubt and don't doubt those you hire. So you should let me manage and trust my professionalism. You, the company CEO, coming into our HR department and bossing us around is disrespectful to me. You were clapping and being snide earlier, so you must apologize to me now, or I'll never speak to you again. And me? Apologize to you in public? Hearing that idiotic rant, I again made that expression the girl used, pointing at herself with a head full of question marks. The next second, my face changed and I demanded coldly, "Why didn't you follow the instructions and recruit the specified secretaries and assistants for the CEO's office?" Recruitment manager Emily immediately stood and answered earnestly, "Mr. Ethan, I filtered and interviewed suitable candidates according to your requirements." She glanced at Linda and added with firm eyes, "But manager Linda rejected all of them. I have the resumes and interview records here." I walked over and instantly understood the reason. Linda really was something else. She had eliminated every woman who met the requirements. She even replaced the company receptionist with a young, handsome guy. No wonder after I transmigrated into this book and came to the company, everywhere I looked were men. Manager Linda, you really are a one-woman monopoly. If you won't follow the instructions, shouldn't you at least give an explanation? I stared at her coldly, as if looking at an imbecile. Linda was unbothered and sneered contemptuously. "Yes, I blocked them. Did I do something wrong? You asked for secretaries and assistants who are young and beautiful, with sexy bodies, high emotional intelligence, sweet mouths, obedient, and strong execution. Tell me, which company's president would hire beauties like that because of you? Don't think I don't know your little schemes. You're completely neglecting your duties, shameless and crude." I didn't bother explaining. My tone was icy. "At Johnson Group, am I the boss, or are you?" Linda snapped impatiently. "So what if you're the boss? I don't care. Since HR is under my control, everything must listen to me." I didn't want to waste words and ordered directly, "Linda, you're fired." Linda stomped and angrily asked, "On what grounds?" Haha, I get it. You want to get my attention by doing this? I'll tell you, it won't work. Unless you improve and meet my standards for a partner. I'm not one of those shallow women. You're just my last backup option. Just then, ever-awakened Michael rushed over without a word. Slap, slap, like a war god possessing him. He crooked his mouth and gave Linda 2 big slaps. Linda, you led group chit-chat and gossip during work hours and refused the boss's work assignments without legitimate reasons. You also disrespected and slandered the boss, which is a serious violation of company rules. The company can unilaterally terminate your employment. For making baseless remarks and slandering the boss, wait for a letter from the legal department. As for me slapping you just now, you can sue me. I've been holding back for a long time. Michael's really something. He's making so much progress. Linda was indignant and wanted to make a scene in the office. Throw her out. The security guards didn't hesitate. They dragged her toward the elevator. I turned, scanned the room, and finally fixed my gaze on the recruitment manager to give her a new appointment. As for her things, what's your name, Emily? Quickly pack her stuff and have someone throw it out. From today on, you are the HR manager. I expect you to quickly straighten out the HR department's work discipline. The HR department's bonus for this quarter will be fully withheld as punishment. If there's any repeat of today's misconduct, group chit-chat and gossip during work hours, everyone will pack up and get out. Next, Secretary Michael dealt with the matter of having just slapped Linda publicly. This guy swore up and down that his personal actions would never damage the company's reputation or interests. He even brought along the top lawyer from the legal department and a lawyer's warning letter to Linda for defamation. When Michael and I were at the HR entrance earlier, he secretly recorded it as evidence. What a talent well done. My Johnson Group needs people like this. The new HR manager, Emily, indeed works efficiently. She decisively sent a high-salary job offer to the most suitable woman from the previous interviews. This tall, voluptuous, and sexy college graduate Chloe was the one Linda had been most jealous of and attacked. High emotional intelligence, speaks with tact, sweet mouth, strong at her job, and would occasionally act cute calling out Ethan. I arranged for her to be my personal secretary, and capable Michael, who wanted to improve, was made a senior assistant in the president's office. Meanwhile, Linda, whom I fired, wanted to expose me online. However, she was badly poisoned by those female audience CEO novels and inspirational nonsense, and severely underestimated the power of capital. Linda's carefully prepared little expose was deleted across the web before it even came out. Instead, the dirt about her causing trouble at school and several companies went viral online. Linda became the target of ridicule across the internet. Those goofy netizens even nicknamed her Old Dove Linda. Her online exposures of alleged assaults on many people were mostly baseless slanders. Because of her stirring things up, an innocent, depressed man named Daniel was relentlessly attacked and exposed online, couldn't bear the pressure, and jumped to his death. Now Linda tasted the bitterness of cyberbullying herself and had been detained several times. Unhireable, she slunk back to her hometown. That guy Michael was busy enough, yet still had time to track Linda's outcome. Mr. Ethan, that old dove got killed. I paused, surprised, and asked, which brave soul was it? Tell me. Michael poured a cup of tea and then described it vividly. It said she went back for blind dates and did all sorts of provocative things, treating others like fools. Those twice-married guys or bachelors were pretty decent and swallowed their anger without causing trouble. Later she provoked a widowed, burly butcher with 3 burly sons, an irritable butcher named Brian, and still dared to demand a $1 million bride price. The furious butcher Brian decisively refused. Linda even humiliated him as a toad, wanting to eat a swan, saying he had 3 useless oafs and wanted her to be a stepmother. What delusions. After that, who knows what nasty thing she said to him, making the irritable butcher Brian go berserk and strangle her. He accidentally killed her, although I kept wondering, how did the mentally unstable and foul-mouthed Linda manage to live into her 40s? Unexpectedly, it hadn't even been 3 months since I fired her. In the original Braindead plot, the inspiring big female protagonist gets strangled to death by the irritable butcher Brian during a blind date and ends up in a box lunch. The crazy heroine's death seemed to quiet things down for a while. Slap! If you tap Secretary Chloe's perky, but she becomes obedient and sensible. Mr. Ethan, are you angry again? Lately, I've been spending a lot of time interacting with thin-waisted, full-hipped Secretary Chloe, so my vigilance had dropped considerably. That day, just after getting off work at noon, I hadn't even had time to eat lunch when I got a call from my mother. Ethan, Amanda is back. I stopped what I was doing, momentarily not reacting. Amanda? Which Amanda? On the other end of the phone came my mother's sigh. Ethan, your mother knows you grew up with her, but the past is the past. Back then, she was stubborn and rebellious to the extreme. She even eloped with Miller family's illegitimate son Jason and broke all of our hearts. She literally shoved the Johnson family's face into the dirt and trampled on it. She's still a laughingstock in those circles. This time, you mustn't go soft. A rotten first love is toxic. Don't touch it. I was completely confused. A thought flashed through my mind. No way, no way. I had only been enjoying this decadent, ultra-rich lifestyle for a few days. The plot's mastermind already had to stir things up to steer the story back on track. This time they were setting up the classic elopement, first love Amanda, to come back and have me, the domineering CEO, take the fall. Do these brainless heroines have to parade in front of my boss like this? Too bad my mind's normal, not a trash can. I said firmly, Mom, since you know she's that bad, just kick her out. Our Johnsons are not a garbage dump for all sorts of junk to come running to. Does she really think the whole world revolves around her? My mother was taken aback, then smiled delightedly. Good that you think so. I'll have Margaret toss that trash out. However, 5 minutes later, my mom called again. Ethan, this Amanda is insane. Now she's brought a 5-year-old boy, Liam, insisting that she's loved you most in this life. I've already slapped her 10 times, and Margaret has thrown her out 3 times. She still crazily clings to the child, Liam, shamelessly lying on our doorstep, making such a scene. It seems she can't bear not seeing you, not hearing you say you loathe her, even to curse her out. Amanda won't give up easily. Holy crap. This is what an unbalanced heroine in a female-oriented world looks like. She even eloped with some wild man Jason at the engagement banquet, and now dares to come back with his son Liam asking me to take responsibility? I've never seen such shamelessness. Too bad I'm not Dorgan. Mom, I'm coming back now. Make sure to call the Lewises over and call the police. This Amanda is trash. She deserves to be cursed and slapped. My mother was pleased with my attitude, smiling proudly. That brat really does understand. Now he's teaching his mother what to do. Then her tone turned resolute, and she added, This time, if the Lewises don't give our Johnsons an explanation, I will not let it go. I understood instantly. The so-called battles between powerful families always end up being about interests. My mother, born a wealthy heiress, would naturally use Amanda's bringing a child to cause trouble, forcing the Lewises to bleed badly. Back at the original engagement banquet when Amanda was with the original protagonist, she rebelliously ranted and angrily accused the original protagonist of not knowing what love was. Then she publicly eloped with Miller family's illegitimate son Jason, thoroughly humiliating our Johnson family. That time the Lewises also lost face because of that rogue Amanda. If not for the heavy business ties between the two families, they probably would have had a major fallout right then. And to placate our Johnson's fury, they made substantial concessions on their most profitable cooperation projects. At the same time, the Lewis family also transferred a highly valuable plot of land to the Johnson Group at below market price. The Lewises had been taken advantage of once and felt powerless. After all, there was only Amanda. However, Lewis patriarch Robert had also prepared for the future. At his age, he was still vigorous. He had a son through IVF who was nearly 3 now. I like to see whether, now that Amanda has made a scene at my Johnson's, the Lewis family will still wipe her, but with my mom's ruthless decisiveness in marrying into a wealthy family, she won't stop until the Lewises are stripped bare. Mr. Ethan, we're home. Driver David Thompson's words pulled my drifting thoughts back. The bodyguards escorted me toward the house. Secretary Chloe, arm in arm with me, smiled confidently. "Mr. Ethan, watch me in a moment. I promise you won't be disappointed." By the time we returned to the gate of the mansion-like detached villa, a crowd had already gathered. My mom really knew how to make a scene. The property manager and security, the police, people from the Lewis family, and even reporters have been arranged to come. What a production! What extravagance! In one word, amazing. At that moment, Lewis patriarch Robert was furiously scolding Amanda in public, only to have his 5-year-old kid Liam opportunistically bite his finger. "Ow, that hurts! You little brat Liam, let go right now." Unfilial Amanda, make that little beast stop immediately. But Amanda, selfish as ever, seemed not to hear, nor did she notice Liam fiercely biting his father Robert. Instead, she shoved through the crowd and ran toward me. "Ethan, you finally agreed to see me. I always knew that the person you love most in your heart will always be me. Back then, I was too willful. Later, I realized that you are the one I love most. Now I'm back to find you, to complete the engagement banquet we never finished and to fulfill our wish to get the marriage certificate. See, I even brought you a smart, sensible son, Liam, so you can skip the detours and become a dad right away. Aren't you so happy?" Amanda's crazed ramblings left everyone present with shocked expressions. With a manic look, she opened her arms, trying to throw herself at me. The next second, a towering, burly bodyguard reacted as if facing a great enemy and kicked with lightning speed. Amanda flew like a kite with a snapped string and was sent tumbling backward. Thud! She crashed heavily to the ground. Ah! The intense pain in her butt and back made Amanda scream like a slaughtered pig. Indeed, the battle cries female leads in this genre excel at. "You bastard! How dare you kick me? Do you know who I am? I'm Ethan's first love, his soon-to-be wife. When I marry him, the first thing I'll do is fire you. No, I'll have the butler break both your legs." Amanda, say it. You're dead meat. Don't talk about any damn cops. Even a god couldn't help you." Struggling to sit up, Amanda pointed at the cold-faced bodyguard and hurled hysterical curses. But her stupid, brainless ranting and arrogant insults offended everyone, which left the police officers who had intended to pull her away awkwardly stopping in their tracks. Amanda, already furious, noticed their pause. She pivoted and turned her fire on the police. "Hey, why are you stopping? Seeing me get beaten, why didn't you catch that thug? Do you think I'm a woman, so I'm easy to bully? Believe it or not, I'll file a complaint and get you all fired. Tell the truth. Were you secretly bought off by that vicious woman Ethan's mom?" Amanda kept getting more outrageous, even publicly defaming the police. It was unbearable. Susan, Lewis's mother, ran over crying, trying to stop her from continuing to spout nonsense. Robert, Lewis's father, almost fainted with anger. After calming slightly, he rushed forward, waving his hands, striking Amanda in the face. Slap! Slap! Robert's veins bulged as he relentlessly slapped Amanda. 5 years ago, this rebellious woman had made the Lewis family lose all face in the circle of wealthy elites. He had thought that after she ran off in rebellion, she would never come back to cause trouble. He never expected she would return with Jason, the illegitimate son of the Miller family, now bringing along a bastard, Liam, to try to force Ethan into responsibility. This disappointing, rebellious woman must have lost her mind. She actually tried to treat the Johnson family, the social elite far superior to the Lewis family, as a trash heap. 5 years ago at Ethan's engagement banquet, she publicly ran off with that wild man Jason. That had seriously offended the Johnsons and humiliated Ethan. Ethan was the Johnsons' only son and now the head of the Johnson group. He was the very apple of the Johnson matriarch's eye. How dare Amanda act insane and pester Ethan again? And she brought Miller family's illegitimate Jason's bastard Liam, brazenly demanding that Johnson's heir become a father? Heaven and earth. This rebellious woman wanted to publicly shame and humiliate the Johnsons, who were vastly more powerful than the Lewis family. "We're ruined. This would forge an irreconcilable hatred with the Johnsons. Robert's mind raced and blood surged. He slapped Amanda with all his might. Even if it meant going to jail, he wanted to beat this rebellious woman to death publicly. He absolutely refused to see the whole Lewis family dragged into the abyss by her. After all, the Lewis family now had a new heir. Mr. Robert, stop. She's already been slapped so hard she's bleeding from a nose and has a mild concussion. Although you are her father and have the right to discipline your child, your violent public beating has exceeded reasonable corporal punishment. If you don't stop, we have the right to detain you. In the end, it was the police officers, the same ones Amanda had insulted and slandered, who stepped in to stop and warn Robert. My mother had called them to deal with Amanda's harassment and pestering. We in the Johnson family hadn't even made a move yet. Unexpectedly, the Lewis family got even more agitated and furious than we did. Don't stop me. I have to beat this rebellious Amanda to death. She made both our families lose face 5 years ago, and now she dares to come here and make trouble. I've watched Ethan grow up. Who doesn't know how outstanding he is? How many daughters from wealthy families in Star City, proper young ladies, have wanted to marry him? Even if our rebellious Amanda hadn't run off recklessly before, she wouldn't have been worthy of Ethan. Nowadays, she even dares to bring along Miller family's illegitimate son Jason's bastard, Liam, crazily pestering that excellent Ethan to marry her. This nut with a donkey-kick brain is unworthy to be part of my Lewis family. In front of everyone, I reiterate, Amanda is no longer a daughter of the Lewis family. Alas, what a spectacle for everyone. Such misfortune for the family. Robert was so angry he spat blood. Family interests come first. He coldly and ruthlessly announced he was cutting ties with Amanda. But that was all for show. After all, there were police officers and reporters present. However, Amanda didn't care at all. This is the female fiction world. Even now, her mind was still on love. Amanda firmly believed I loved her the most and would definitely agree to marry her. Even if she was willful and rebellious, skipping classes, fighting, not studying, partying, and clubbing with Miller family's illegitimate Jason. Even if at the original engagement banquet, she dramatically eloped with another man, Jason, publicly slapping the original woman and the Johnsons in the face. Even if she ran around with Miller's bastard Jason and gave birth to this unnamed, illegitimate son Liam. Even if she betrayed and humiliated the original woman, casually despising and abandoning his more than 10 years of devotion and friendship. So what? Amanda always thought I must stand there and wait for her, like a garbage dump, silently accepting all the trash. What? You dare to wake up? Even refuse? Then it must be your fault. You poor sap who's taking over the bill. Ethan, say something. Tell everyone that you still love me. I'll give you a chance to confess publicly, to make up for the beautiful moments we missed. Say aloud your love for me. Then come over and kiss me hard, blind their dog eyes. Amanda looked at me like a lunatic. I was currently mockingly watching the drama unfold. Another lunatic. Daytime dreaming, making wishes here. Everyone's gazes swept onto me. I raised a hand. Secretary Chloe, sensible, hooked her arm through mine, then followed me as we walked slowly toward Amanda. Secretary Chloe, in a hot OL secretary outfit and a tight pencil skirt, showcased her explosive figure. Of course, 2 hulking bodyguard gatekeepers walked alertly ahead of me, in case Amanda suddenly went mad and harmed their generous employer. Secretary Chloe looked down on Amanda with contempt and provocation. She teased, Ethan, Amanda's eyes are so scary. Does she want to kill me? Wah wah wah. It's all my fault for being young, pretty, and well-behaved. That's why fate hasn't paired us. Ethan, your first love Amanda really thinks of you. She even had someone else bear your son, Liam, so she could get someone to raise him and then take your place. I guess I'm too dumb, not as far-sighted as Amanda, just listening to you, making you happy, finishing the tasks you assign. Damn, this sexy, pretty little vixen, is she some kind of green tea spirit possessed? Just let her get slapped in public and vent for a while. What about that rotten first love, Amanda? But you couldn't let her surpass you? Unexpectedly, this slim-waisted, ample-hipped, beautiful secretary Chloe turned out to be a formidable multi-talent. That soft, slightly clipped voice gave me goosebumps. I almost lost myself in the repeated cries of Ethan. Damn it, I'm really furious right now. But it's broad daylight, so I can't do anything yet. I have to give her extra tonight. Amanda is the epitome of a competitive female lead in an Otome novel, the standard heroine in the female-oriented world. Seeing the young, pretty, well-shaped secretary Chloe look at her with such disdain, even taunting her with snide remarks. A heroine who's always decided I must stand still and wait for her no matter what. How could she possibly tolerate such humiliation? Bitch Chloe, get the hell away from me. Let go of brother Ethan's arm. Only I in the whole world am allowed to, the only one who can call Ethan brother. You flashy slut. Ethan could never like you, let alone fall in love with you. The person he loves most in this life is me, Amanda. Even if I come back at 80, he will still wait for me with deep affection. Go die, you. Amanda struggled to stand, clawing angrily as she lunged to scratch Chloe. The next second, the emotionless bodyguard delivered a crushing tackle. Amanda was knocked back, stumbling and landing hard on her, but she tried to struggle to get up. Then, a scene that shattered her, a heart-crushing blow. It completely destroyed her faith. I pinned down Secretary Chloe's head and started kissing her mouth fiercely. Oh! Amanda broke down and screamed again. Shut up. Ethan, I told you to shut up. You can only kiss me. Let go of that bitch, Chloe. I won't allow you to kiss other women, or don't expect me to ever speak to you again. Incredible. To be exact, Amanda is a double standard dog. She can mess around with other men like Jason, even having made a kid, Liam. And he's already this big. Yet she won't allow me to be intimate with another woman like Chloe. I must remain pure for her rotten first love? God, why does the world have such lunatics? Quick, strike down this freak with lightning. Amanda glared at Secretary Chloe with red-rimmed eyes, struggling wildly to get at us. She is the heroine of this world. She absolutely won't allow the childhood playmate Ethan, whom she once casually abandoned, to get close to another woman. What is that screaming? High-pitched and grating, it's deafening. Disturbing neighborhood. How rude. Get back here. Aunt Margaret, whose arm strength is astonishing, shouted and hauled her back, then expertly twisted Amanda's arms behind her and pinned her to the ground. 2 words, professional. I wildly added insult to injury, while publicly making my stance clear. Amanda, give up that idea. From the day you messed around with that other man, Jason, even eloped and humiliated me, you, that rotten first love, have been completely erased from my heart. I'm young and accomplished, and I lead Johnson Group to soaring success. Why should I take you back with someone else's brat Liam in tow? Besides, I prefer young, pretty women like Secretary Chloe. I have no interest whatsoever in someone like you, a married mother. There are so many people here today. My position is clear. I feel nothing but disgust for you. Don't come harassing me again. Amanda refused to believe it, still thrashing like a madwoman. Her little wolf cub, Liam, snarled like a mad dog. He tried to bite Aunt Margaret, but was slapped to the ground by her in one powerful sweep. The policeman kindly went over and helped him up, but unexpectedly, he tried to assault an officer. He was quickly pinned down. Aunt Margaret, the nanny, cooperated with the policeman and dragged the rambling, raving Amanda into the police car. The Lewis family were unmoved, their eyes full of disappointment and coldness. Amanda harassed my family and publicly slandered and defamed the police. Her detention would last at least a month. What followed was the main event. The tug of interests and compromises. Although Robert, in front of everyone, furiously slapped and punished Amanda, trying every way to sever ties and draw a line. However, who do you think the Johnsons are to be trifled with? They were slapped in the face 5 years ago, and now they came again? If you don't want enmity to be eternal, you have to bite the bullet and make concessions. The already declining Lewis group naturally didn't want to offend my Johnson family. to continue cooperating with the Johnson Group and try to keep the Lewis Group from going bankrupt, he could only transfer 2 other core land parcels to us at below market prices. At the same time, Robert wrote a letter of guarantee, promising absolutely never again to let the unfilial Amanda humiliate me and the Johnsons in public. Otherwise, all projects in cooperation between our 2 families, the Lewis family must sell off cheaply and leave. To avoid Johnson retaliation or even causing Lewis Group's bankruptcy, they had no choice but to accept begrudgingly. Later, my mother told me about the Lewis family's ruthless methods. After Amanda's detention ended and she was released, they used the brat Liam to threaten her, forcing her to go abroad and be forever trapped with Miller family's illegitimate son Jason. Left to fend for herself, Amanda believed Robert was so heartless only because he now had a younger son as heir. She couldn't accept it. Why favor sons over daughters? Amanda was resentful and hatched a poisonous plan. She encouraged her brat Liam to find an opportunity to push the Lewis family's 3-year-old late-born son down the stairs to his death. After all, she could then make an excuse that it was kids playing. Unexpectedly, their mother and son conspiracy was overheard by the butler. Robert flew into a rage, his eyes bloodthirsty as he issued an order. Because the butler heard Amanda and her son plotting to kill the little master, he had their legs broken. Ah! The mother and son screamed like pigs being slaughtered. They were fed dog food every day, repeatedly humiliated and tormented. In the end, Amanda couldn't take it and completely went mad. The Lewis family threw her into a psychiatric hospital, abandoning her to her fate. As for her crooked-mouthed brat Liam, the Lewis family's nanny dumped him in an orphanage. Although this method was cruel, strangely they were not arrested. I, being such a great philanthropist, couldn't stand the Lewis family getting away with it and living in comfort. The Lewis family's nanny was actually planted by my mother as an undercover. There were both witness and physical evidence. Robert's defenses were ineffective. He had to confess and face the law. He was sentenced to 10 years for intentional injury. Without his helm, the Lewis Group quickly collapsed. I, this great philanthropist, couldn't stand them being too comfortable. With a series of moves by my subordinates, the Lewis Group was driven to bankruptcy and reorganization. In the end, the Johnson Group acquired and merged the Lewis Group at extremely low cost. Susan, having lost her means of support, had no choice but to rent a room in a run-down village with her 3-year-old son. In her 50s, she works 2 jobs every day and still has to carry her child to collect bottles to sell. Life is full of hope. I, on the other hand, lie on a beach chair, enjoying the massage of delicate little hands. Everyone has a bright future, but there was one thing they didn't hear clearly. That is, how could the Lewis family publicly humiliate me twice and then just walk away after cutting me a little piece of flesh? What kind of international joke is that? At the root, it was their indulgence, because back then there was only one only daughter, Amanda. Letting Amanda be rebellious and willful again and again, even repeatedly hurting and shaming the original woman while pretending not to see it. Each time, they morally blackmailed her into making compromises, forcing her to endure humiliation. What, Ethan? You need to be magnanimous. Oh, don't you know what kind of person our Amanda is? She's just a bit spoiled. You're a boy. You should be tolerant, not petty and calculating. Amanda holding hands and kissing other boys? Impossible. It's probably just classmates horsing around. Don't take it to heart, okay? Ethan, we're only Amanda's parents. This puts me in a very difficult position. And so on. The list goes on and on. Hot damn difficult. Then don't do it. So I transmigrated into this book to give them a hard lesson. Every cause has its effect. Their retribution is me, including those neurotic heroines. Now they all seem afraid and go out of their way to avoid me. Ethan, although you're still young, you need to show some restraint. That's Secretary Chloe. You need to know how to handle her. Mom's call came again. I nodded in agreement. Hung up. I yanked up the crouching Secretary Chloe. Tease little glutton, I really can't help you. As a super rich CEO with a sane mind, life is this simple and unadorned.